Number 1, discussion, direction, and adoption of Resolution 4108, updating the city's water shortage regulations related to businesses. Sean?
Thank you. Mayor and Council, this was a future agenda item requested by Councilman Singleton related strictly, the resolution had been updated based on the comments of Councilman Singleton of basically a 1 day a week or no watering for businesses. And so staff prepared a report with an action item if the council wishes to take action on that, but I'll leave it up to Councilman Singleton to discuss.
Okay, because we all know where we're at with water, and it's hard to get citizens to feed into what we're doing to say, yes, we agree. When you have water being washed down the street, you can have that at Save Mart, you can have that even at DMV, they have water going crazy. When you have the businesses that are plush green, it's hard for the citizen to say, yeah, let me stop and let my yard die out, but it's not dying out over here. And I get it in some areas of the school that you need to have the grass green. I get that, but it shouldn't be all over the school. Just because we can afford to pay the fees or the fines for overwatering doesn't mean that we should, because as Ms. Jones said, that it's not going to be temporary. Whatever fix we do now by purchasing water is a Band-Aid. It's going to keep bleeding out. So we need to think long-term, because businesses have the accessibility over the citizens to change their lawn quicker. They can make theirs more desert-friendly than we can quicker. Some of us just put in green grass, and now we end up watching it die, and not everyone is even doing that. Like Mary Dawn said, right across her beach, she's got some pretty green grass, but it ain't hers. I mean, she'd love to have it, and it's just kind of disheartening when we see the water and everybody who's in the fight to do it is just shaking their heads. I mean, we've already went back on what we said as far as the overcharging. We reissued the money. We said we're not going to do that anymore, and now we kind of seem like we're in a deeper hole than we would have been if we'd have kept forward with the program. But nevertheless, we changed it as a council, and we have to live with that. But now we can't continue to just have all these businesses watering like there is no water shortage. And it's not even on 1 day a week. You go by Save Mart, I mean, you have swimming ducks in there. There's so much water going out there. It's like, at what point do we say stop? The people that work at Save Mart live right next to us, and their yards are dry. So it's, to me, I mean, we have to do something, because nothing isn't working. Just saying, okay, that's a business, they can pay for it, that's not acceptable. And another feedback would be on the state facilities. I don't have a problem with the inmates doing their shower program, because they're accounted in when we get our water allotment. That's a given. They have to have their hygiene, but it's the outside of the prison and the state hospital that I have a problem with, because they're so green. And it's like, we have to drive by this and see this, and knowing that we're spending millions on getting water just to get us through month by month. And it's like, it's just frustration. I mean, it's like, what else can we do? We can't garnish them. Nah, that's a state facility. What are we going to do? We can't walk in there and shut the water off. No, so we have to absorb that with us, and that's just, to me, it's wrong. It's wrong, and I know the citizens are tired of it, because I'm tired of it. Man, there has to be an agreement where we have to say, yes, let's stay in the fight together so we can win the war. But if we divide amongst each other, we're never going to win the war. Never. So I think we need to change up to how we allow these businesses to water. We have to figure out something, because they're steady getting green, and the money we have is going down, and our water level isn't going up yet. So we're open to any and all ideas there, Council.
Is there a way that we could, like businesses that come in, instead of them planning to grow grass, we could offer some kind of incentive or grant for them to do like houses? Fake grass?
New houses, you mean?
Businesses. Yeah. Like same like we're doing with the residential, we could do something with the business.
Well, staff is working, sorry to interrupt, but staff is working on a policy for new development. And usually, typically, any new project that requires any type of discretionary review, we condition the projects that there's no turf permitted. But we are working on a policy that we can implement that would basically allow us at the business license level to ensure that, if you open a new business, maybe, and once the policy comes back, it may be where something, where if you're opening a new business, maybe you have to, remove that turf and, exchange it for something more drought resistant. That could be a possibility when the council discusses that policy. But in terms of like new projects, we're typically, we're already restricting the installation of turf in any new business.
Okay.
Okay, also on the water and stuff like that too, and it's health and safety water, isn't it, is what it called? What's it called? Health and,
Our water?
well, the water we're getting right now, what's it called?
We're under public health and safety.
Public health and safety.
Yeah.
Okay, Valley Fever is public health and safety. So let's go to the state and ask for more money because the prison needs it. They have to have it themselves. We have it in our town here. So we could get our schools, our West Hills, our prisons, everybody to sign off on this. And we can put this out to the public, and because we're getting all these phone calls from all these newspapers, let's put that out there too. And maybe we can get some more water. And let's send a letter to the governor telling him we need more of the water. And we can all sign it, not just me. The whole council sign it.
No.
And I think that would work a little bit more, because it is valley fever and we need it. I mean, everybody's trying to save water. I mean, most people are, they're trying to, but it's hard to put a lot of money into your yard and let it go completely. I mean, I paint my yard. I still hate it, but I paint it and it looks pretty good. But I just painted it again. So I think we need to write a letter to the governor and see what we can do on that too. And then send it not just to the governor, but CC it to all of our representatives.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, yeah, we gotta push those representatives. I mean, I've dealt with this valley fever, and that's what's giving me my tumors. That's what's giving me my health issues that I've been going through. My son lost his mom when he was 6 years old to valley fever. It is bad, and it is sad when you go to Valley Children's to take your kids and they diagnose them, and the line of the kids are just, Coalinga, Huron, and it's pretty sad. And I think, with this election coming up, these representatives need to know that we have to be on the map. We have to be in their view, in their map, and in front of their face. If I have to even walk all the way over there and protest for the water, I'll do it, because that's why I'm in this seat, to represent our community. And if I have to do that and hike over there, which I've been already talking to somebody who does long hikes, I will do it, and whatever it takes, because these representatives need to know that we're not just something that could just dust off our cars. We need to make sure that if they're going to come into our town and ask for our vote, they need to make sure that whatever they put down on their stuff, they have to be serious. And they have to, when they come to our town, they have to know that in order for our vote, they have to do what they promise and what we need. It's an emergency, and it's going to hurt a lot more individuals, kids, everything.
And I get it that the city can't go out and physically regulate people's water, but it's just amazing on how it goes over everybody's head that there is no water. They think they're just saying that. They're just saying that. But like this gentleman said, he walks by Keck Park and it's slush. Before it wasn't, because I drove by there when they were telling me that they weren't watering it. So I'm like, okay, let's see what the color of it is, how bad is it? But now you're saying they're watering every day. And it's like, at what point do we get the citizens, well, not even the citizens, because we're doing it's the businesses that are out there to see that we have to fight this together. We're losing a battle right now, and it's going to cost us a lot. We don't want to fold up Coalinga because there's no water and everybody start moving out, because that'll be the next thing people start doing. I've got to go where there's water at. There's no water here, but Coalinga's not built like that. They are built to stay and fight for what's theirs, and that's what we have to do. And like Manny says, I wasn't here in '93 when they had the big collapse. I was somewhere in Texas. I was going to high school. But
83.
83. See, that was a good year, my graduation year. But like he said, we didn't stop and just say, okay, we're done. Earthquake took us out. No, we rebuild. We brick by brick. We fought back. So what was the comment? If Mother Nature can't take us down, the government can't either. I mean, because we elected them to be where they're at. At the end of the day, they need our votes. But if they can't give us water, how can we give them a vote? I mean, I don't see anybody's earning a vote from Coalinga right now.
Yeah, and just remember too, when Coalinga was first getting bigger and bigger, we had to bring our water in, and then they started using trucks. And then, I don't know how many people remember it, but over by the fire station, we had an ion building right there with water. That was our main one. We had one there, and we had one at Polk and California Street too, right there too. There was two of them, and those were big, and they were covered too. You couldn't even see them in those days. So we need to do this, and hopefully we'll get Marissa and Shonda to write. They're pretty good about writing letters, and then we'll sign them and stuff.
Okay, and I'm great with that. But what do we do as far as the businesses?
Okay.
The businesses, do we give them the one day? What do you say, Monday? You want everybody to get the water flowing every Monday? You can do your businesses on Monday, but that's it. Not Monday through Monday, just Monday at whatever time is designated to water your yard. I mean, the businesses have to fight with us. They have to, because we're still going to go to Save Mart if the grass is yellow. That has no problem. I'm still going to go up in there and purchase something if the grass
Are
is
you talking
yellow.
about the schools too, though?
Well, and
Because they need the grass because they have to go by rules.
Yeah, because CIF,
that's
right?
that's
CIF.
that's out of our hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
We can put down what we design here and what their rules are there. I don't know how or who falls short. Because at the end of the day, if the grass is green at the schools that we have no water here, people are not going to mention CIF. They're not, and I'm not saying the places where kids play at. I'm not saying the football field make it great. That's insane. I'm not saying the parks where they play at. No, there's no way. That's crazy. But I'm saying in the surrounding areas where there are no kids playing. I don't know what the ramifications on that would be, but we just have to know what we're dealing with before we put that into play, though. But we can always check in to see what that is. But for the businesses at hand, that they need to give me, in my opinion, a Monday or a no day. Whatever the council agrees to, we can pick and choose.
Go ahead. Come on up.
So, I've probably walked a fifth of this town within the last 2 or 3 months. And I tell you, I've went door to door and I've talked to people. And you're exactly right. People are willing to fight for what's theirs. And their fight right now, unfortunately, is not with the city, it's against the city. And when you guys took away all their watering and said you can't even water one day in the front yard, I'm telling you, people spent $6 to $8 grand fixing those yards, and they're giving you guys the finger. They aren't going to do it. They're telling me that they are not going to stop. And that's an interesting thing. They want one day. They want one day to be able to water. I understand the current water situation that we're in, but you hit the nail on the head. People in Coalinga do fight for what they want. And a lot of these folks believe that health and safety with having a front lawn extends into multiple faucets. Interesting pun. But I was going to show you that I just got a notification on my phone, and this is from the Ion Water app that I've been trying to get you guys to get to everyone that wants one in town. And it told me right now, a little bit ago, that I had a 65 gallon per hour leak at my house. Now, I looked everywhere. It's not a leak. What it is I guess probably one of my kids took an extra long shower, and I've been all over them about this, right? Like, take small showers. My grass, by the way, is brown. I have my trees around there that we are watering just to keep them alive, fruit trees and things like that. But overall, my grass is definitely brown. But I think that you're going to get a little bit more with people if you give them a little bit. And I think that people are going to be more willing to conserve if they understand where they're at. So like with me, I have 6 people living in my family, and even only watering the trees, you can look on the usage here, and you can look on the graph, and you can go like per month, right? And you can see. So like, let's say if I hit the month, you know, this month, no, last month I used 19,924 gallons. That's 4,000 gallons above what the city was doing overage charges of, and I've been conserving. And my grass is brown. And so how is that fair to me, having 6 people in my family I did get refunded those charges, and I appreciate that. But I also understand that, we have millions in reserve. We do. We got that money, and that came from taxpayers. I would love to see that money be used to offset that water bill if we can't get the state to do it, because I think they deserve it, because that money came from us. Or B, get them smart meters like yesterday. I'm telling you, if it can find the leaks here in my thing, and the city has multiple leaks all over the place. I just know from walking around, I've seen all kinds of leaks. I'll tell you one right now. Over there at the park in Sandalwood, there's a leak, and I took a video of it. And it looks like it's very small, but when I first got the ion water in, my little drip was 3 gallons an hour. I didn't realize that. That's almost 60 gallons a day. And I was like, whoa, and take that times 30 days. That's a lot, right? So I wonder how many other people in town, in fact, I know a lot of them do. They have these leaks and they don't know about them. They're using an excessive amount and they don't know that they're using it. When they see their bill, it's a little bit higher than others, but I think if we give people tools to be able to fight this, that they will. And I also think that that I understand that the staff does everything they can, to try and be legal with the state and try and do. And I know that I'm very critical a lot of times on, staff reports and things like that. And I just want everyone to know that, I understand that staff is doing the best that they can, literally. And I understand the council up here is in having to make tough decisions. And I get that. It's just unfortunate, and the people are mad. They are, and they want that one day. And so I would hope that if you gave the businesses one day, that you would also give the people one day of front yard watering. In fact, most of the people I talked to said that they would rather water their front yard than their backyard. Like, my backyard's completely dead. But I know it's a tough decision, and I appreciate you guys up here doing the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori?
Good evening, everyone. Lori Villanueva, Superintendent. And since schools came up, I just wanted to jump up and let you know what we are doing. So we are also balancing our health and safety and also our CIF. But we are super aware of what's going on. We have cut our water usage 40 to 50%. And areas that children aren't playing on, we're trying to get those to die, except when we got a tree in the middle of it. We're trying to keep our trees out because our little ones, where they're out in the heat, we don't have a lot of shade structures. So we're trying to maintain shade. And something that people might want to be aware of is we all pay exorbitant fees to workers' comp. If I have employees that get valley fever and they can tie it to their employment, it's actually accepted as like a workers' comp injury. And when our workers' comp claims go up, so do our costs. And so when I do talk about the safety part of it, it is a very serious safety issue. Again, with the CIF and the sports, if our fields fall out of what the officials consider to be, proper watering and safety, then we would be obligated to get on a bus and play our games somewhere else because we wouldn't be able to play. And we resurfaced our tennis courts a while back because we were almost at the verge of not being able to have tennis games because of the cracks on them. And around here, you get a lot of cracks in your cement, right? So I want you to know that we are aware. We've changed how much we water. We're getting ready to come and present to you. We want to water kind of a little bit on a couple days rather than a lot on one day because we think we can keep our turf alive. And that, for us, is really important. When you fall on hard, dry turf, you break bones. And you have a lot more serious injuries, which is a liability for everybody. And when it's, at least somewhat watered, it provides a cushion for falls. And so we're also trying to do some liability prevention and risk management. But we are doing our best to cut back as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Gentlemen, what would you like to do? Would you like to go to the one day?
I'd like to start off with the one day.
Can I want to clarify a few things. Currently, the way the regulations are set, it is 1 day a week for businesses. So the discussion, what was brought up was basically going from staying at 1 day or going to no days. So if we go to 1 day, that's the status quo. So that's basically what the current regulations are. Also, to clarify for front yards, I know that people use the term front yards, and you can't water front yards. You can water 1 day a week in your front yard and your backyard. You just can't water your front yard turf. That the turf is the only thing that cannot be watered. So I just want to make sure there's clarification for the public and the audience that when it comes to front yard watering, it's not no front yard watering, it's just no watering of front yard turf. So if you have shrubs, you have trees, you have anything else in your front yard, you can water it on the 1 day a week watering, just like you can water anything in your backyard 1 day a week. It's just the front yard grass or the turf that can't be watered at all in the during these restrictions.
Does it have to be drip in the front?
No, it doesn't have to be drip. It just basically the restrictions are the 1 day a week watering, and you cannot water your front yard your front yard grass. So if you have trees, shrubs, anything in your front yard, you can water those the 1 day a week, which is now Mondays.
Since it is 1 day watering a week, and it's obviously that they're not even following that. So I like to retract my statement of 1 day a week and just say no watering at all. I mean, and it's also getting cold, so you normally don't water as much during that season anyway. But we are open to suggestions, City Council.
With the 1 day, I mean, if we do no watering, there's going to be people still watering. I think I don't want the schools to not. I don't. Ms. Valorant, you made a perfect. There's schools that come to our town because of the field. So schools that are excited to play with our fields. The kids do deserve their fun outside. They do.
That's not speaking of the schools, though.
No.
Yeah, I'm thinking of businesses.
I'm just saying that
Okay. All right.
For those that are over watering, please look that water could go to our schools, to our parks where our families and kids could play actually safe. That 1 day a week, I mean, I think businesses should restrict from watering, and I think residential should be 1 day.
Yeah, I mean, our policy right now is for no residential watering of turf, right? So why are we allowing businesses to water it? It just, if you want to make the people mad, tell them that.
Well, the businesses should not be watering turf. So based on the governor's order, no non-functional turf should be irrigated. That's for all classes, for commercial, industrial, and institutional. Oh. So when you talk about the schools or any business, non-functional turf should be not irrigated. You shouldn't be irrigating non-functional turf.
How about Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec, in terms of the way it's written, it's functional because it's park space. Non-functional means there's a definition. I think we've put it in I think we put it in previous reports.
But it's not every day.
No, we still set the city can still set the restrictions on watering restrictions, but based on the governor's order and the state order for non-functional turf, that is an order that's basically statewide that all, for non-functional turf.
Yeah, but they don't even do it. You go down to the Capitol and it's green. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not defending the state.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of recycled water that the state facilities use. Now I can tell you there's state facilities in our city that are not on recycled water because they use our water. But there are facilities that we do see that are on recycled water, which there are provisions with recycled water.
Yeah. Okay. Nathan? Sorry.
So, I just think that if you look at the actual wording of the ordinance that you have in front of you, it actually does not only include businesses, but it also includes industrial and institutional, which technically will include the schools and everything with that, unless the wording is changed.
That was just based on, and it can be changed, obviously.
Right.
The
So
council.
I'm just saying, I want to point that out to council before they move on to that. And then secondly, I actually read the entirety of it, and there's actually a lot of teeth in there. And so I don't understand how it says that we can't shut off the state, because in there, it directly says that the city can go and shut you off So if the state, and so I don't understand. So are you telling people that they can shut off people's homes, but they can't shut the state off? Are you saying there's a difference in there? Because in that ordinance, it directly says that the city can do all kinds of different things. There's like a thing about this long. So, and I just talked to a guy that works at the prison. I think Ray probably works out there too, right? Or somewhere. You know what they told me? They told me the inmates flood the place. Yeah, they flood it, right? And so how do we stop that? So they're flooding while we can't water. I mean, I think we should get at least one day a week for the citizens. I think you're going to have better luck with that, I promise. I think you should roll out the smart meters and try and spend some money on that, because I think that people are really in a mode, just trying to help here. I think people are in a mode of panic, and they don't want their lawns to go dead. And I can tell you that one day a week is barely enough on my trees to keep them alive. And I'm really trying hard to just, like, you know, I understand, you know, what Councilman Ramirez said, that the you know, parks and rec and the schools need the water. My kids don't need to be taking 15, 20-minute showers. That's for darn sure. I wish I could stop them, so I'm going to do whatever I can on my part. But I just think that the city can work on the state, and if they can't, I don't think that's another thing. You know, when I listened to, I think 2 or 3 meetings ago, you said industrial can't save, commercial can't save. You know, the prison and them can't save. So unfortunately, and after every one of those comments, you said, unfortunately, this relies on the residents. And I said it at the time, nuh-uh, that doesn't rely on the residents. That's not fair. Not a chance. You go to those people and you tell them to start saving, or we start shutting them off just like you would do anybody else. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
I just have a question of clarification. The Washington Post and CNN and one other source said that our water was limited from, there was no watering between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., but the paper says from, our paper information says from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So is the 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is the correct time frame that we cannot water between?
I would take our regulations
Well, I just
rather
wanted to
than
make
the
sure.
Washington Post or the
Well,
CNN.
yes. And then the other question is, because I cannot figure this out other than retaliatory or just to make life miserable, why is it set that we can water from midnight until 6 a.m. on Monday, and then from Monday night from 9 until midnight? Why isn't it starting like Sunday at 9 o'clock and water all the way until the next thing? I mean, I don't know how many people in reality are going to get up and go out and change the water. We do, because we're weird and we love our plants. But we only have so many hoses to run water, because even that amount of time isn't enough. But why does the city have that set up that way? Why do we have to, the way it's set right now, we can't just let something drip? Do they just think we all have drip, you know, automatic sprinklers or something? Because we don't. So I don't understand why, it seems punitive. I don't understand the reasoning for it.
Thank you.
Is there a way we could go to the prisons and ask them to put timers on their showers or something like that? Or do they already have?
They already have timers on there.
We've had a lot of these conversations with the prison, the state hospital, regarding some of the concerns. A lot of it's out of their control. Talking to the folks that we're speaking to, have tried to implement some of these things, and unfortunately, the inmates have a lot of power in the facilities in terms of how many showers they get, and they've tried to restrict shower usage, and those are very challenging from their administrative standpoint.
Yeah. And also too, like, I mean, I know a lot of people like to take long showers. I mean, I switched all my faucets. I went sensor to my faucets. I have the old school 91 something little thing from the PE, from high school PE. I mean, you know, so, you know, also too, if people do their homework, you know, get some 2-liter bottles and just put it right there. You know, it saves a lot of plants, saves a lot. I've gone to a couple of people, Lindsay, Hanford, and did my research with compost. I threw compost in my backyard, and I haven't watered my backyard in like 3 weeks or more. and for some reason it's just coming out. And now that it's cool, I put more, and it's still staying a little bit green, but it's doing your homework, setting your timers, seeing where is it leaking, putting your sprinklers to the edge of where it goes to the sidewalk. It's just, we're not buying, and
Yeah,
like I said-
compost is good for your grass because it holds the water.
Yeah, exactly.
It holds the water in. so-
And that universal compost, it's moist, so it gets humidity in there, and it keeps your grass growing. My kid's mom has it, and she never waters her grass, and for some reason it's just coming out like crazy. So, and especially now in cool weather, I'm saying you water at night, it's gonna stay a lot moist. So,
Okay, gentlemen, let's get back to where we're.
all right.
The item
So
at hand.
this, good,
Okay,
one day? Or what?
Well, I mean, I would say one. Okay, we got a question.
Scott,
Just modify it to exclude the schools.
Scott Netherton, 424 College Avenue. As a resident, I don't want the council to look bad by keep referring to what Sacramento says, what Governor Newsom is saying about the water issue. We all know we do what we need to in Coalinga for ourselves. We did it during COVID. We can do it during this. I'm not saying don't conserve, but we can't do what we want during one time and then fall back and say, well, it's California saying under order we can't water anything that's not any grass, anything that's not, absolutely necessary. So I just don't want you guys, people to get the wrong impression saying, well, they can do what they want when they want to, but then when they don't, they go and blame Newsom. So the other side of that is, like they were saying, Coalinga fights. If you tell them 0, they're going to go and do it 3 times. Just because they don't like to be told they can't. Especially, like you said, when they spend thousands of dollars on their yard. Mine's dead. My neighbor's looks like Pebble Beach. Okay, but I think I understand the reasoning for doing the backyard one day, front yard not, but if there's any way of giving them that one day, I think you might see them take that one day and stop doing it 3, because hey, at least they're getting, something. It's better than being told, don't do it at all. And that's my opinion. I probably still won't water. I've learned my grass comes back after I don't water for a year. It just, when I water, it pops up. It's that kind I have, I guess. But again, we can't keep blame Newsom on saying, no, we can't. The state says don't do that when we know Coalinga does what we need to survive. During COVID, we did it. We made businesses essential, and Coalinga supported that. If you make rules based on what Coalinga needs for water conservation and you make it fair, I think Coalinga will follow it too. But just personally, backyard makes no sense, but not front yard. They would much rather have that front yard one day a week than they may not water 3 times. And the other thing, we're getting cooler. Can we maybe not do it during those hours at night? I mean, do it early morning or late evening, because people, they'll put it to going and go to bed, and then they don't shut it off. If they don't have the timers, they just run the hoses like Mary. She may not want to get up at 3 in the morning and move it, so I'll do it when I get up at 6 a.m. So if we could do it during other hours with it cooling off and not as hot, people may let it go and set a timer and go out there from 7 to 8 at night or something. And you might find they conserve more that way as well. So just my thought.
thank you.
So on watering, where do we want to go with businesses? Businesses.
Look, I think if we're going to tell the people that, if we set policy for the people saying that they can't water, why are we not doing that for the businesses too? I think what we're doing is just finding ways to piss off the people. And this is the perfect example of why they're pissed, because they don't get the water, but the businesses do. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't go and change the policy maybe one day a week. Maybe we should. I don't know. But if we're going to hold the people to that policy, then we should hold the businesses to that policy too.
And just
The people are the
confirm-
ones, they're 53, I looked at the report, 53, not tickets, but warnings went out in the last couple weeks to the people. Now, imagine the people getting warnings for watering their lawns, but then they go out and see the businesses watering their lawns and nothing happens to them. So if we're going to set this policy for the people, I'm not saying we shouldn't change the policy. I don't know. But that's what the policy is right now. If we're going to set this policy for the people, I believe we should also set this policy for the businesses as well.
And just to confirm, there is no outdoor watering for businesses on turf. So it's 1 day a week. The restrictions are the same for businesses as they are for residential. Because all the business turf is considered non-functional, so it should not be watered at all. So if the sprinklers are going on there,
Well, where's their citations then? Because nothing has happened. Go to Save Mart.
I mean,
Go to
we
Chevron. Go
can
to any
bring that
business
back
right
to
now.
code enforcement and make sure that, and see whether we're seeing these. I know that sometimes, they're in the middle of the day or whether or not they're at night. And so that has to go back to code enforcement, and we can definitely bring that back. But in terms of the actual restrictions, the restrictions are essentially the same. Commercial businesses, any commercial business that has turf is considered non-functional, so it shouldn't be watered. Any other irrigation, any other landscaping that a business has is 1 day a week on Mondays.
And that's even more frustrating, knowing that they're watering all this time and they should have been watering at all, even though they're a business. So I mean, we're going to have to really get with code enforcement. And I don't want to, make it to that level, but it's done before Rise and Shine. So therefore, when we do get up and go to Save Mart, the grass is green and the street is dry, but when I leave for the gym at 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear the water. I tried to take a video, but it's too dark, so that's not going to work. But you can hear the water as you're driving down, and it bothers me. I would love to go and turn it off, but then they're going to, call chief and I'm in handcuffs in the wet grass or something. So, but it's just frustrating that they can't. So we need to get code enforcement involved. And I guess there's nothing to even vote on that if they're not supposed to be watering anyway.
Yeah, I can talk with Marissa about it.
Yeah, we can go to the businesses ourselves.
Now, do we need to modify the wording on the schools so that way it's correct?
No, it's still
I don't-
the current restrictions are
Right.
are still in place, so it wouldn't change anything.
And I mean, at 50%, that's more than what our businesses are doing. If the school's saving 50% of water, I mean, that's already more than what these businesses are doing to us already.
Yeah, see, I have 2 shops. One of them's a business, and I've been able to cut mine down to less than 1,000 gallons a month.
I need more.
Yeah,
My house is also between 7,000 and 8,500 a month. So
and maybe we
there's
could
only so
talk to
much I
Tyler
can
a
take.
little bit on Parks and Rec to make sure that they understand.
Yeah, I've notated that
Okay.
based on the comments.
Right. You want to just hold this one right now?
I mean, there's nothing we can do.
Okay,
Everything's in there.
because we don't want to make it
No.
more.
No, we're good.
Okay.